back to Open Your Eyes. We're moving now into our final segment for the morning. And this one involves monitoring the environment and protecting the environment using technology. Yeah. What kind of technology? We've got the folks in to tell us all about it. As a matter of fact, we've got in with us Edgar Correa, who is the forest officer from the Forest Department. Louis Balan, who is the junior technician at Red Protection Belize.
Red Plus.
Oh, there we go, Red Plus. All right, so, and of course, we've got Edalmi Grijalva, junior technician at Red Plus Protection Belize. Good morning, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've got to say though, before we continue, and we're so thankful for this, the segment is actually sponsored by Red Plus with funding from the World Bank. Guys, good morning again, and welcome.
Good morning.
All right. So, technology, everything is technology. Look, I'll tell you what, I've seen a microwave being used with Alexa. That's to tell you how crazy the technology is. So now we're talking about protecting our environment and monitoring our environment using technology. How are we going to do this?
Well, thank you, John. Morning to Marlene and yourself again. And of course, as you have mentioned, technology has been evolving over time. And in the different sectors, even when looking throughout the pandemic, you have seen the use of technology and how it becomes really important. And when it comes to delivering of messages and looking at data itself. And that is itself for us as well when it comes to the Forest Department. We've been working along with the Red Plus project over the last 3 years when it comes to collection of land use information. And this entails looking at information year per year from 2000 to 2018. And how has this information been used? I mean, it's been used to now look at forest cover, forest degradation, and especially when it comes to this year and looking at restoration, looking at hotspots within Belize in terms of intervention and where can this be done. And also when it comes to using of national documents such as strategies, policies, laws, and we at the technical level have been doing this over time, and it's an annual activity that the department has taken on. So go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, in our conversation the past few days, we've really tried to put into focus just the importance of the forestry that we do have and the different ways that we're trying to protect it. We think of trees and maybe they be turned into paper, but we don't think of how we link it with technology. But there are some innovative programs that are being rolled out. Let's start talking about some of those.
Yes, and this actually this morning, that's what I'm going to be speaking about. One of the tools that we use to actually go about assessing and looking at land use change over time. And this has been done it's a really tedious process. It includes a team. It includes different technologies, as you said, devices, satellite imagery. And it has different preparation phases when it comes to, preparation, when it comes to implementation of this activity, and of course, the validation. So I'll now pass it on to Louis, who will be now more speaking in terms of how it's been done and how we did it over the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, Louis.
Okay, Louis seems to have disappeared at the moment, Edgar, so you can continue.
Yeah, so...
there they are. Yeah.
We're trying to share the PowerPoint.
Okay, you're showing us.
It is on, yes.
Yeah. How do you use technology to monitor land use? Okay, wow. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, guys.
Yeah. Yes, Louis, go ahead.
The purpose of this exercise, I'll be giving a brief description of the tool that we use for monitoring of the land use and land use classification from 2000 to 2018, which is Collect Earth. How Collect Earth came into about Belize needed to carefully analyze and reveal its historical land use and land use activity data. So the technology needed to meet intergovernmental canon climate change principles, which are transparent, accuracy, consistent, complete, and comparable.
Okay.
Collect Earth What is Collect Earth? Collect Earth is a tool that enables data collection through Google Earth in conjunction with Maps and Google Earth Engine. This tool is an open source online software called Open Forest. The purpose of this assessment, it was used for monitoring land use and land use change from 2000 to 2018. Other satellites utilized are Landsat 7 and Landsat 8 and Sentinel-2.
Okay.
These are the six main land use categories. To undertake the land use and land use change assessment, Belize National Land Use and Land Use Change Classification System was modified to fit the 2000 Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Classification Guidance. At the right of the image, there's a forest picture.
Yes.
Specific subclass would be pine forest. And specific class, pine, the mature pine. The second image is an image from a grassland. Lula subclass, lowland savanna, and specific class would be open savanna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Followed by the third one was going to be wetland. Subclass specifically with inland water bodies, and specific class would be a river. This is a picture from the Makal River. The fourth land use category is crop intensive agriculture. Specific class would be sugarcane.
Yeah. So Louis, it seems that we're having just a little bit of trouble with the
The audio.
sound. Yeah, so we're not hearing you as clearly. I don't know if you guys can double check that connection. I don't want to miss what you're saying.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Edgar, I know one of the things that we're looking at is just understanding the land use and also tying it into how technology has been used to monitor.
Yes, that's right, Arlene. We've been actually using this tool. I said one of the tools. It's a geographical information tool that actually enable us to now look at satellite imagery and look at the current land use and see at which point in time did that land use change. And from there, we actually go about classifying all these plots around the country. And actually, it's like I said, it was a really tedious job that's done. And also, we look in terms of preparation, a lot of consultation, a lot of training.
Okay.
So it does entail a lot of work when it comes to the monitoring and using of technology, which is really important at this time.
All right. Edalmi and Louis, let's test you guys out again.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, much better.
All
Much
right.
better. Okay. So you were telling us about the different land use categories. And I guess for me, the question is, so we know that the resources we do have naturally have value in what they contribute, not just environmentally, but also when you talk about how some of these areas are used for sustainable practices. But how do you monitor? And explain to us how technology has really helped in being able to be a monitoring tool moving forward.
We could hear the
Yes, for
birds.
example, okay, if you want, you could take the floor now.
Yeah.
No. Marlene just posed a question to you.
Yeah.
Will you please repeat again?
How has technology helped in monitoring moving forward? I mean, what's the biggest difference that it's making?
Yeah.
Basically, it's giving with Collect Earth. It gives us that time frame that we were assessing from 2000 to 2018 to really check what is the land use specifically within that plot. No.
Okay.
So after all that information was gathered, we had an analysis process whereby we were seeing which were the main land use from forest to other categories.
Okay.
So in that sense, it could prioritize. We could prioritize resources, no?
Oh, definitely. And I'd like to get Edelmi in at this particular point. Edelmi, so while we talk about the technology and we had Lewis a while ago telling us what we've found, indeed, can you progress more with information on there in terms of what we've found, especially looking at our environment via satellite?
Yeah. Thank you, John. Well, good morning again, Belize. I will be showing you the results.
Okay.
That's what's I could answer your question based on that. First, I will kindly show you heat map
Okay.
of the progress and the changes Belize have over the past years. As you can see, the activity depicts in red is where the most activities happen from forest to other land use, as how Luis had mentioned. For example, it have been converted to crop, grassland, which is mainly used for pasture, for livestock.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then here is where we get the results that you have asked in your question.
Okay.
For example, for the year 2018, what has left from our forest cover is 61.75%, followed by grassland, which is 20.33%, and thirdly, cropland, that is 9.39%. And if you can see to your left side, the map depicts forest covered last in red. And if you could notice, the activities happen in the central Belize and also in the northern part.
Yeah.
And then if you notice, forest remaining forest is what depicts in green. And then our deforestation rate for the study year for the 18 years is 0.7%. And the average loss for the entire 18 years is 9,673 hectares.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
And then we have a comparison map here. The forest cover for 2000, we had 68.03%. And for the last year that we had the assessment, forest cover with 61.75%.
Okay.
There's a drastic decrease. And the drivers or the demand is cropland, grassland, as you can see in the pictures and in the map.
So what you said, that's a demand?
Yeah. If you notice, our economy draws more to agriculture and livestock.
Yes.
And there's a switch. There's will always be a switch. And to notice is that we have to educate more our community on this. Why should we left the forest standing?
Well, and I think that that's such a key part because people will look at forested areas and they will see it as lack of opportunity for that there's a lack of development.
Yeah.
So when you, especially as people who work in the environmental community, when you hear people say that, how do you respond?
Edgar?
Sorry, I wasn't hearing you too well, but if I heard you and clearly, what you said was that how do we encourage people to leave the forest up?
Her question was, if there are many times you're driving out there, you're passing by areas that we see are heavily forested, and people would pass by there and say, man, there's not development going on out there. But we know the importance of cropland. So how do we get people to understand that the importance of cropland, or when you see a forested area, that it is very important to have?
Yeah, well, I mean, it all boils down to a balance, I mean, everything, when it comes to cropland, when it comes to grasslands, all these ecosystems are important, as forests as well. So it boils down to looking at a balance in terms of having these areas, both for the economic reasons, for food security, But also when it comes to protection of forests, when it comes to carbon sequestration, when it comes to oxygen, when it comes to biodiversity, watersheds. So all these things interrelate somewhat way or another. And for example, a lot of these areas that exist with croplands or grasslands may be existing over the time and has been changing over the time from forest or land use. But are the practices being implemented, are the correct ones, are the right ones? That's where we need to look when it comes to best practices and implementing best practices in these areas to actually improve these croplands and grasslands so that we can now reduce the amount of forest that's being affected or converted from forest to other land use.
Yeah.
All right. So in wrapping up, Louis and Edalmi, you shared with us some very important data from, I think, 2017, 2018 to now. But I want to know the expectations, especially now that we're monitoring. What do you guys expect of land use or from what you're monitoring going forward or in the near future?
We expect that the data helps guide makers to make good policies and regulations or to enforce the policies that are already in place. Because the data is not just to collect by the experts, but also use it in a wise way for make our country move on to have a balance, like how Edgar had mentioned, between developing and also maintaining the forests.
Okay, which of course protects our flora and fauna.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so
So where can we go to find this information? Because we think it's very important to know.
Yeah.
Well, we at the Forest Department at the Geospatial Monitoring Unit have been doing this activity along with the different partners to collect this information annually. So it's not that we're only doing it from 2000 to 2018. I mean, we're doing it for 2019 and 20 actually now.
Yeah.
And this year we'll be doing 2021. And this allows us to monitor our forest and in terms of different targets that have been placed for our commitments. When it comes to, like this year, when it comes to restoration, a lot of the activities that's going to be done this year are commitments that we're going to do as a country. We need to monitor these things. And the only way we're going to be monitoring these things is by collection of data and doing it annually, consistently. So here at the Forest Department or at the National Climate Change Office, you can access this data if needed.
Yeah. Does it also help you to detect when there is some kind of illegal activity taking place?
It does allow us to see somewhat real-time information.
Okay.
Since the satellites that we use are satellites that would come in maybe every 6 days or every 16 days, it all depends.
Yeah.
It allows us to see maybe areas that have been, it's being degraded. So that allows us to kind of see trends and maybe look in terms of focusing our resources more in these areas. If it's within protected areas or out of protected areas or along the coast and hence. So yes, it does allow us to see illegal activities.
And it also, I guess, Louis and Edalmi, it contributes towards that tracking that you showed a bit earlier of loss of forest cover.
Yes, it does, and it helps identify if we have causes of deforestation or forest degradation in the different areas.
Yeah.
And I
And it
wanted
helps
to,
to understand the part.
Sure. I definitely wanted to venture there in terms of the most interesting data that you guys are actually seeing there. Marlene alluded to people like illegal logging or of sort. What are some of the most interesting data you guys are monitoring on there?
Well, I mean, when it comes to illegal logging itself, I mean, the department would know where the legal logging is occurring. So obviously, where these areas are affecting when it comes to illegal activity, we would notice, especially along protected areas, buffer communities. So I mean, when it comes to interesting data, I mean, it allows now when we're collecting this data overall and over the time, it allows us to see trends, and that's really interesting because now we have a really robust data set that allows us to see trends and allows us to now make more proper decisions, and like what Edalman was saying, contribute towards a lot of different reporting documents that the country commit at the national scale and at the international scale when it comes to the UN. So I mean, this information, although it's technical and we do it at the technical level, it does contribute a lot when it comes to the national level and even globally when it comes to commitments.
All right. Well, guys, any other information you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
Well, this is just a glimpse of what we do, I mean, at the department. Like I said, I mean, it's something that's evolving. As you know, technology evolves over time. And we're planning to improve our national forest monitoring system as we go along. So definitely feel free to drop by at the Forest Department to get more information.
Okay, and for you, Luis and Edalmi, tell us just closing thoughts, what you've been able to do through the use of your technology and some of the ways it will help us in the future.
I think if you guys give us the opportunity to show us a glimpse of a video on how you assess using Collect Earth tool would be awesome, so that the country can have a glimpse on the activity itself.
Sure.
Go ahead and play. And this tool is called Collect Earth. Yeah.
Yes, it's Collect Earth, and it's actually from the Food and Agriculture Organization. Was developed from there.
Okay.
And it's free. Basically, it's a free online platform that was adopted for Belize.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
You're ready?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
see the video. Yeah, it's not. There's something
The
happening
audio
with
is-
the connection. Yeah. No, that we're not able to hear the video from your end because the connection isn't sound enough. This is, you see, technology helps with the forest, but sometimes it still gives us a bit of trouble.
Technology has its way of glitching. But
But
guys, like we mentioned, and I think the video, of course, will be very interesting. Is there a way we could actually watch that online?
I think when it comes to the video itself, we can maybe post it up on our web pages or Facebook pages so that you can have access to it.
All right. All right, guys. We're so thankful that you were able to join us this morning to tell us about new ways of how we could actually monitor and protect our environment using technology. Edgar, Luis, Edalmi, guys, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
all
All right, so there we go. That segment actually sponsored by Red Plus with funding from the World Bank. We're so thankful that you guys could have joined us this morning. We're about to take our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. Stay with us.